Hi, hello. Welcome to a actually normal episode of Here Comes a New Challenger, a fighting game podcast where we'll talk about fighting game stuff today. That's pretty neat. Um, it is a three-man team today, and I am joined by Austin
That is me, howdy.
and James.
Hi.
Yeah, and it's me, Garrett, the guy who does this. Today, I feel like we're going to talk. Not I feel like today, I want to talk about tier lists and maybe even like balancing as well, because I feel like those are two topics that like bleed into each other pretty decently, and if not, I can make it work. I am a god of bullshit, I would assume.
Yes. Yes, you are.
So, but first, Austin, what have you been playing recently?
um been playing a lot of Civ 6 lately. It's been a lot of fun to go back and play that game. That game's a ton of fun. And I'm really getting more into like playing the new expansions. They were all really cheap on the store, so I'm having fun playing. I think it's called Gathering Storm or whatever. Um I got back into Animal Crossing a bit more. It's just been fun to, sell fruit and fish.
Who's your favorite villager?
Lyman. He's a koala. He's a cool guy. Him or Agnes. Agnes is like a pig. She's cool.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Good. Uh, what else have I played? I played Warzone because it's crack. And I think that's it. Not, none too much.
Alrighty, that's super neat. What about you, Mr. James?
Aw.
Yeah, what have you been playing?
I've mainly just been playing Celeste the past like week, honestly. I got it because it's on sale. It was $10, I believe, and I had a friend that's been recommending it to me forever. Like, it's one of my old TF2 friends, and we both kind of quit TF2 around the same time. But now we just kind of play like the same games, like platformers, roguelikes, and Metroidvanias. And I know we had like a thing where we both played Hollow Knight at the same time, and he was like, "Oh, dude, Celeste is so good. It's totally your type of game. You should get it." And I was like, "Nah," for like a year and a half. But I finally got it last week, and I was like, "Yeah, you're right," because I fucking love this game, dude. It's just, I don't know. There's just something about really smooth, responsive platformers that I really like, and the fact that the game has a pretty like cute and touching story like attached to
Yeah,
it is just the icing on top, you know.
yeah, I
But
haven't.
I've Sorry, go on.
I don't know much about the game. I know that it's like a hard platformer, but I also know like the story itself tackles like anxiety. I think it's a really big part of it.
Yeah, really just like a lot of anxiety and depression
Yeah.
makes up the themes of the story. And like dealing with that and that part of yourself.
Yeah, I remember like talking about that being like, oh, this is really cool that this game is getting recognized at the VGAs, and this is because it talks about anxiety and stuff. And one of my friends was like, no, it doesn't. I'm like, all right, keep going off, I guess.
What?
Yeah, because
What
like
was their argument? What?
yeah, because during Video Game Awards, I think Celeste was being talked about when I was talking about
Yeah.
how I was really excited that like it's a game that talks about anxiety and stuff. But then Brandon was telling me that no, it does not, and talk about anxiety.
You know, you
I mean,
can
I guess it
say
does talk about depression more than it does talk about anxiety, but it does talk about anxiety. The main character literally has a panic attack where she has to call her mother after like chapter 1. Like, what?
hmm
Bro, Brandon's bullshitting you.
I kind of knew that was gonna be Brandon too, though. You're like a friend of mine said, "No, it doesn't." I was like, "That's Brandon, isn't it?" But I didn't want to assume.
Yeah, just like how he told Troy that Ramethal dies in Revelator.
What?
Yeah, because he was like,
Really
no,
like
I,
that.
I saw the scene, she dies, and no, she
I
gets saved by
I
Raven.
can't believe Ramathal's resurrected ghost is playable in Guilty Gear Strive.
And she had to sacrifice her arms to get cool bloodied bandages.
Exactly, dude.
You had to
Mm.
But yeah,
sacrifice the underboob in order to bring her back.
it is kind of a whiplash though, because I'll be playing Celeste and I'll complete like a really hard level or do like a really hard jump, and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I'm so fucking good at video games," and then suddenly it's like, but what if your character has depression? And I'm like, oh
And I'm like,
shit.
oh
no, that's-
man, I'm really good at video games.
It's like, oh man, I'm really good at video games.
Yeah, it's like whenever you're playing like games with like morally ambiguous characters like Yick, where it's like maybe I am an
Like,
asshole.
yeah. Why
Like,
is that your first?
Because it's what I've been playing for the
Yeah.
past month.
Okay, Garrett, you have to understand that by the end of you playing Yick on stream, that you have to either write a whole essay explaining why Yick is terrible, like a
Yeah.
fucking
Like a video essay,
paper
video
for
essay
college,
fucking thing.
like an essay, yeah. I go, this is why Yick is terrible overall thing for the people who aren't gonna see all the stream, or you're just gonna always default all your examples of something bad as like, oh yeah, it's like Yick.
I'm like, dude, it's like whenever you're hanging out with your friend and your friend's playing a game they really like or whatever, like they're playing Bloodborne or some shit, and you're like, yeah, I ran into a dog last night, and it was super spooky because I just couldn't see him. It's like, oh, dude, that's like in Bloodborne. And it's like, okay, you don't have to like compare literally everything to the thing you're doing, but all right.
Garrett, that's what you're gonna do with
life.
Yick, dude.
Okay, that's pretty cool though that you're digging this less.
Don't run away from this, Garrett.
No, we'll
You're a
go back
Yick
to
fan
it. We
now.
can circle back later.
You can't run away from Yick forever.
I'm gonna have to circle back to it because there's a lot I need to show for that game. This is funnily enough, but anyway, what else have you been doing?
Garrett
besides
really out
Celeste?
here putting unsolicited Yick pics in my
I
DMs.
hate
Yeah.
you. Stop using that. God, I hate how it sounds.
Well, stop sending Yick pics.
Stop shutting up. Fuck. What else did you do besides Celeste?
That's pretty much it. I've just been kind of crunching that game in the past like week.
Okay.
Oh, that reminds me. I did play something else, and I just remembered this.
Oh, what did you play?
I found a YouTube channel. I can't remember his name. I think it's Designing for.
Yeah, I think I know that
um,
guy. I've seen a few of his stuff. I've seen his designing for Cameo one for the Baz.
Yeah, that's his big video. Is the Baz video. But I rediscovered him, and he had a video over Punch Out. He was doing like a Punch Out retrospective, like NES Punch Out, and I watched it, and then I rebought the ability to play online on the Nintendo Switch to be able to play the Virtual Console to play Punch Out. And I've been playing Punch Out, and I've been watching a lot of speedrunners, and I'm trying to. I don't know if I'm trying to, but I'm trying to beat Punch Out first of all, and then maybe get into speedrunning it for no reason. I don't.
Yeah, dude,
I don't
go
know.
for it.
I mean,
have you seen
quarantine
like?
makes you do
wait,
crazy stuff.
yeah, have you seen Zallard One's speedruns of it?
Yeah. I've been
Yeah, they're
watching
fucking
speedruns of it.
crazy.
They're very relaxing. They're very like therapeutic for me to just like. I'm just like watching me like, oh, this is good to just watch someone like perform at such a high level.
You gonna try and do like the blindfolded runs?
That's the goal. I want to be able to I need to beat the game first. Like I want to be able to beat it before anything else. I'm having trouble. I get
With
stuck on
Flash Joe.
fucking what's his face? Bald Bull 2, which like it shouldn't be hard, but like my brain just I need to get used to reacting to those things again. And I haven't even gotten to Mr. Sandman, and every time I see Mr. Sandman plays, it's just like this is the most terrifying thing I've ever fucking seen. But yeah, that's another thing I've been playing. Sorry to interrupt you, James.
No, it's okay.
No, you're good.
It's good that you now get to talk about the Punch Out, which is pretty cool. I don't think I've ever played a Punch Out game.
The one on the Wii is
I've
great.
I've heard that one's amazing. I'm really hoping that they bring it back, like a port it to Switch at least.
Oh yeah, I hope so too.
Just because like whenever I've seen it, I'm like, oh, it's really neat how like. Granted, you can argue that all the characters are just like hashtag ethnic stereotypes, but it's done super tastefully. I think
Yeah, like it's
you can
it's
tell there's
cartoony.
like appreciation for it.
Yeah,
I
it's
think the game
cartoony and
looks
such,
good.
but yeah.
Like each character just has so much like
Personality, yeah.
emotion, personality to their animations.
There's
Yeah,
a lot of color in that game, you know.
yeah, it's just so
Yeah.
fun to look at. And also, you get to box Donkey Kong,
Yeah.
Yeah. If you beat the game, you can fight Donkey Kong.
which is never something I thought would be a selling point in a video game, but here we are.
Dude, it's the best part of the game though.
Yeah.
The best part of the game is that Donkey Kong fight, but also the Doc Lewis like train with
Yes.
Doc thing where you go to Star Punch, he goes, I invented the Star Punch, and he hits you out of it. It's
Yeah.
the best thing ever.
Exactly like that. The Donkey Kong boxing fight, but the number one thing, best thing about that game has got to be fucking Mr. Hollywood, whatever his name is,
Yeah.
California
Macho
surfer dude,
Man.
Super Macho Man. That's his name. Yeah, just like flexing his like pecs and ass into the camera.
Super.
With his fucking spray on tan.
Man.
Okay. So I guess then that leads into me.
Mm-hmm.
I've been
Talk about
playing...
Yick.
No, I will do that later. Fuck you. I want to get to. I have to ease people into it. Okay, you can't just punch somebody. You have to ease them into the punch.
Okay, fine.
You can't just send unsolicited yick pics. You gotta.
Oh my god, I hate you.
do it first. Gotta flirt a little.
Oh. Okay. So the Steam sale was happening, so I bought a shit ton. I think I talked about that 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I bought a bunch. And I've been, in terms of the stuff I've been playing Dead Space a lot.
Okay.
Because I've never beaten it. I've gotten to a certain point every single time. I made it to like chapter 6 and I've dropped it for multiple reasons. And never because I didn't like the game. It's usually because like, oh, I need to make space for my laptop. I'll uninstall Dead Space. But I don't think Origin had a cloud save, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to start over every time I did it. And this time I bought it on Steam. And I was like, oh, so I have to start over. So I did that, sped through those, and now I'm like in parts that I haven't been on yet. And I'm still really liking it. It's really good.
Nice.
It is basically just Resident Evil 4 in space. But
Mhm.
it's fun. I really appreciate how all the weapons are super unique despite being like staples. Like, the force gun is just a shotgun, but it's cool because it shoots fucking gust of air or something. I don't know what it shoots out, but it's like not whatever. And it's just satisfying
Okay.
to use like the plasma cutter, which is like the pistol of the game, which should suck and you should never use it. But in this game, it's a godsend because it's like a little, you get to slice off limbs with it, and it's really satisfying.
Yeah. I've never played Dead Space, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I hear you.
It's good though. It sucks because I never played it for the longest time because I always thought it was just spooky jump scare violin, but it's
Yeah.
not. There is a lot of like body horror to it, of course, because of the necromorphs, but there's also like a cosmic, like Lovecraft cosmic horror to it,
Ooh, that's interesting.
just because of like the marker.
Hmm.
And then there's also psychological horror.
Yeah, no, it's very good with the horror from what I've heard.
Yeah,
which is
'cause, like-
like one of the reasons I want to play it, but at the same reason I know that I'll never play it because I'm the biggest fucking weenie when it comes to horror games.
Dude, I'm a weenie too, but I'm playing this game. Literally, the only horror games I've beaten have been RE4 and RE2.
Dude, I
And
could not get
technically
through the
Alan
first
Wake, if you count Alan Wake as a horror game.
I don't know. I never played it. All I know is that like I could not get through the first half of like RE7 without somebody else in the room.
I think I can get behind horror games if I'm allowed to fight the horror.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that's me
like
too.
already-
I don't like the I hate the hide and go seek horror.
oh yeah, I can't. I have too much like. I will like panic.
I mean,
and
there's that, but also like it's just really boring because it's like, oh no, gotta hide. Like if they give you a gun, but make it to where ammo is scarce or whatever, like in Silent Hill or
Yeah.
something like that, then that's cool.
yeah, I think the biggest example of that is fucking or the big example of the hide and seek horror games that I don't like. I just can't play because it's not for me. Is the freaking Outcast?
Outlast.
Outlast.
Outcast
Yeah.
is the Hey Ya people.
No, yes, you're right. Sorry. Outlast, which I love to watch people play, but I could never play that game because I would get one scared, but also like I would never be able to like my the fear that the game is intentionally trying to get me to do of like panicking and running and stuff.
Yeah.
I would just mess up the whole time. Like I would fumble the controls and I would never be able to really accomplish what the game wants me to do gameplay wise because it's good at getting that type of fear out of me.
Like, but at that point with Outlast especially, it just kind of desensitizes you to jump scares. Like
Yeah.
halfway
Oh,
through
yeah.
the game,
You just get used
it
to
uses
it.
them every 10 seconds,
Mhm.
dude. Because I played Outlast a little bit when it was free on PlayStation Network, and it's just nonstop jump scares,
Yeah, man.
bro. I can deal with it.
Yeah, but
It's-
Dead Space handles that really well because I mean, there are jump scares obviously, but like You can fight back. All of your weapons are good and they're like really fun to use. I don't think there's a single like the only one I don't like using is the pulse rifle because it's just a machine gun and it sucks. But like
Mhm.
all the single shot things that shoot like lines at enemies so that you blow them apart is always like ungodly satisfying in that game.
Ah,
And
okay.
I really like Isaac Clarke's design. He looks cool. There's definitely some other stuff too that I really like about it. But yeah, also, if you have earbuds on, it's why I don't play with earbuds. But whenever you're walking around and there's no enemies, you hear whispering
Oh man. Oh, that'd be super scary.
because the general consensus of the Dead Space trilogy is that Isaac Clarke is slowly going insane.
Interesting.
So you're just hearing like whispering while you're walking around doing nothing. Like it's just exploring, you're gonna be hearing like whispering that's gibberish. Like that doesn't make
Oh.
sense to you at all.
I don't know if that'd be annoying or terrifying or both.
I feel like it was more terrifying whenever I played it with earbuds. I don't play with earbuds anymore because I'm a baby, but yeah, that's neat. I also bought Curse of the Moon 2, which
Yeah.
is a sequel to Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, which was basically literally just Castlevania 3.
Yeah.
This game is literally just another 2D Castlevania game, but it's really fun.
Okay.
Yeah, there's definitely some changes too. Like the life system is still there, but the score system is gone. Instead, there's like an XP bar that when you get it maxed out, you get a life. It's really weird, and I don't understand it.
Hmm.
But you get 4 new characters. I've only unlocked the first 2. One's Dominique. She gets like a spear
Okay.
and lets you like shoot up. You also got like spells with her. One of her spells lets you like create health whenever. One of them
Hmm.
lets you revive all of your party members that are dead, which is really neat. You also unlock the gun guy who uses a gun. That's it.
Ah, yes. Gunman.
Basically just Chris Redfield. However, the next character I unlock a corgi.
Unlock the what? I'm sorry.
I unlock a corgi.
Oh,
I unlock a corgi and a mech.
a mech corgi.
Yeah, it's a corgi and like a weird like the Magic Tech armor in like Final Fantasy VI.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like that, but a dog is piloting it.
It's like something out of Valhalla, real talk.
It's yeah, Dragon Fucker,
I might have to buy this game.
the best chibi. Just get Valhalla at that point because you get to do the prologue, which is just talking to dogs, and one of them
But
is
I
named
want to.
and one of them is named Dragon Fucker.
Trying to think of like the last Castlevania type game that I played. I think with Guacamelee.
Oh, I mean, like these are like classic Castlevania. They're not like these two aren't Metroidvanias.
Okay.
Like classic left to right platforming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Guacamelee,
Ritual of the
dude.
Night is the Metroidvania one,
Hmm. Okay.
which is also fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And Miriam is a very cute person. But I think that's it for the stuff I've been playing. I've also been watching a brand new Animal. I've seen 2 episodes so far. It's very good.
Okay.
It's big It's a Studio Trigger's new anime.
Okay. I'm in.
The main character is really cute. She's a Tanuki girl
Mm-hmm.
with like blue hair.
I'm out.
And there's also like a wolf guy. But
The other main character is Wolf Guy that kicks major ass.
yeah, he's also hot, so it's fine.
Austin doesn't want to hear that he's hot. Austin wants to hear that he like fucks some shit up.
Yeah, he's like, oh man, you guys sold out, and he gets big mad and like punches people, and there's like big punch. He's cool.
That. All
Pretty
right.
good.
You're winning me back.
I don't know how else to describe it other than like it's just Studio Trigger.
Okay.
Like it's super zany with its editing and like all that kind of stuff. So if you really
Yeah.
like that style of like Kill la Kill, Gurren Lagann Promare, then this shows up your alley. It's like 12 episodes, so it's pretty short.
Yeah.
I'm
Wishing that he
trying
actually-
to.
It's like very Studio Trigger.
Yeah, I'm trying to binge it because I'm supposed to be talking about it on a podcast next week, so hopefully I can finish it by then. The deadline's either going to be Wednesday or Friday, so we'll find
Mhm.
out. But yeah, before I talk about the fun stream times I've been having recently, I need to give some quick little updates on projects and stuff. The first one is that I'm going to be on a podcast again next week, either Wednesday or Friday, and that's going to be on. I'm going to be on the Kurocast again.
Dope.
which is my friend Blackjack's podcast. If you haven't seen that episode yet, I believe it's called "I Need to Fuck a Pussy Right Now." There is a reason for that, and it's in the episode. So totally watch that. It's really good. We talk about Helltaker for like 2 hours. And I think I'm a regular. Like, that's what it seems like. So I should be on there pretty regularly when there's podcasts with that. Sometimes I have two podcasts to juggle, so that's pretty neat. And speaking of, Blackjack also is editing videos for me. He is taking my streams and condensing them into highlight videos.
Which are funny. They're
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, no, the
first
editing-
Nick one.
Yeah,
They're pretty good.
yeah. The
Yeah, I
editing
watched
is really, really strong. I can't remember what. Oh no, now I remember the joke that made me laugh really hard. It's the whenever Michael first shows up, the Matt Pat looking dude, and it just does a quick cut of Chris Chan. Like, I wasn't expecting that cut, and I just started laughing really hard. But yeah, it's not free work. I am paying him for it, so hell yeah.
Yeah.
I
As
think
you
I'm-
should.
Yeah,
Pay
I'm paying
people for doing stuff.
him right now. I'm paying him 50 per video.
Okay.
Let's go paying friends for services.
Yeah, I'm paying him 50 per video, but if he wants more or whatever, we can totally talk it out because I don't mind. Because it's really high quality stuff from the editing that you can see. Apparently, yesterday or the day before, he told me he started working on editing the next video, and he says he was 30 seconds in, but it's very heavily edited 30 seconds, so I am very worried.
No, that's good. I can only be excited.
I definitely feel that with some of like the more like joke-filled videos I've edited. It's always like 30 seconds of like a 3-minute video will be like take up 90% of my time on editing because it's just me trying to fit in as much dumb shit as possible.
I mean, that's probably what he's trying to do.
Which,
Like, I know
hey,
this man, and I've known him for like 4 months. Motherfucker is probably doing that.
Hey, if it works, it works. If it's funny, hey, we'll do it.
Yeah, fair. Like, I'm not complaining. I really like it. Like, it's funny as fuck. And if you want to watch that, that is on my YouTube channel, Close Detective. Totally watch it. Also go on his Twitter, follow him, give him a subscription on his YouTube videos because his videos are all really good. They're less crazy editing, and they're still really well edited, but they're less of the crazy, funny, zany editing and more of just really well edited video essays. And he did a video on Resident Evil 3 recently. And also going over his Animal Crossing island.
Nice.
That's basically it. Part 2 is happening eventually. I don't know when because I don't want to rush him. He should just do it whenever because he's also working his own videos. So you should be able to just do that. How about you guys? And I've been also streaming more Yick,
Finally, we can talk about Yick.
and I fucking hate it still.
Good. It's awful. It's the worst.
It keeps getting worse. Like, every time I think, okay, this is pretty bad. If something happens, I'm like, oh, this is really bad. Like, the easiest way to describe how much I hate this game is that before I stopped recording last week, I had to follow one of those weird entity dudes or whatever, and they're like, oh, go up a radio tower. And I go inside the radio tower, and there's a disc jockey system, because it's a radio station. It's like, okay, this is whatever. And then they're like, oh, what, you want me to play this record? And you look down, and the record art on the sleeve, the art on it is literally the Yick soundtrack art. And it is called the Mythical Ultima LP.
You know,
And you need to find, but the actual vinyl isn't there. So literally, I spent 2.5 my stream this week was spending 2.5 hours looking for the ultimate mystical Ultima fucking relic Yick soundtrack
on vinyl.
on vinyl.
thank God. What a game! This game is hilarious to me in that it's a mixture of like trying to be self-aware, but in the most incompetent way possible.
Yeah.
But at the same time, being like,
stroking itself off, dude.
well, it's
Like,
trying
I
to do
think-
it like, oh, look how funny it is jerking ourselves off, and then it's like still jerking itself off in front of you, and you're like, this is awful. I don't like this.
Like, I explained it in the stream, but it's like Yeah, you guys ever seen Tron Ascension, the second Tron movie?
You mean Tron Legacy?
Tron Legacy, yeah.
Tron Legacy's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
What
you know
about-
how like in the background of one scene there's Daft Punk
Yeah,
because they made the soundtrack.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Stuff like that, like little nods, that would
Yeah.
be fine. Honestly, if the Yick soundtrack cover art was still there, I wouldn't be pissed. If they were just like, oh, this record or whatever, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just vague. But no, they call it the ultimate Omega awesome, cool
Yeah.
soundtrack, and it's like, why?
If you just saw the Yick soundtrack just in the record store, just sitting there, like, yeah, that'd totally be fine.
But no, it's a plot
Yeah.
point. It's an
Yeah, but they
important
made it a
goddamn
fucking
plot point.
It's the greatest record of all time, dude. How good is the music in Yick, by the way?
Awful. There's like there's like every stream one song pops up where I'm like, okay, I kind of like this song. One.
Mm-hmm.
I
You know what it
almost
reminds me of, Garrett?
what?
Do you remember a little it was a very small, not big channel called Channel Awesome,
God damn it.
and they did movies, like crossover movies,
Yeah.
that were just reference humor
Yeah,
or
talking
making fun of
about
themselves.
are you about to bring up the fucking Toboldi Flea?
Yeah, To Boldly Flee. It reminds me of To Boldly Flee in the worst ways possible.
There shouldn't be good ways to fucking think of the Boldly Flea, which, if people who are listening don't know, the Boldly Flea is basically a 3.5 hour jerk off fest for the Nostalgia Critic,
Yeah.
where
Which-
he becomes a god by the end of it and sacrifices himself into the plot hole in order to save humanity. Because he is the greatest critic ever made, even though he is actually one of the worst next to CinemaSins, who has like caused a decline of criticism online. But whatever, that's a different topic for a different time.
If you really want to understand why why Nostalgia Critic is bad, don't watch To Boldly Flee. Just go watch the Wall review
Yeah.
and cringe for however long that
It's like
video
20
is.
minutes, 20 or 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like the full. It's
Cringe.
the full length of the Wall album. I'm pretty sure.
It's a cringe fest. It ain't great, and there's a lot of just not review happening. I don't want to talk too much about Nostalgia Critic 'cause we have actual shit to talk about, but like all of his videos are like, we're gonna review this thing, 80% skits and stupid
Yeah.
side banter jokes. The movie's okay, I guess. More side banter and shitty jokes, and that the Boldly Flee movie.
Boldly Flea movie
It's
is
like-
just a look how good the Nostalgia Critic is, and Yick is just that. Is just look how good this game is. Isn't this game really good?
Yeah,
Mhm.
well, it's not just that. It's also like, hey, remember that game we also made that got
Two
absolutely
Brothers.
banned? You guys are fucking idiots. That's the greatest game ever.
And how there's the Two Brothers statue within Seinfeld World.
And the actual two brothers main characters showing up as a plot point
Yeah.
later in the game. You know what?
Yeah, speaking of really bad product placement of other games, we are getting close to the Valhalla section, where
I'm not sure
Valhalla
I'm excited
characters
or not
show up
excited.
in Yick. Hey James, you know how Jill looks really cute in Valhalla?
God, did they give her a 3D model?
Yes.
On
You want are you ready to see
No,
Jill
I
look
don't-
horrifying?
you? No.
I'm pretty sure the only one they gave a 3D model to is Jill,
Why would you say that?
because it's true. It's a bummer. Like, Jill Stingray looks cute, and she could probably look cute in 3D, but no, it's the Yick art style, so it's gonna look horrifying no matter what.
So she's gonna be like a fucking 5 polygon, 3 frames per second, moving around.
As long as she can make cobalt velvets and suplexes, that's fine.
I gotcha.
Okay, that's enough about Yick, I think.
Yeah, let's move on.
So, tier lists.
Okay.
I kind of want to talk about tier lists and just kind of balancing in general, because balancing is a part of tier lists, because tier lists fluctuate because of balancing.
Mm-hmm.
It's also just because I wanted to do something pretty simple after like a pretty heavy topic last week,
Yeah.
and just have a very simple, fun one before we go into more gamey stuff. Before I do another vote. So, what do you guys think about tier lists?
I think we should explain what a tier list
Yeah.
is first of all.
Well, yeah.
So we can get an idea. Is like the tier list. What happens is there in a fighting game, there's a cast roster of characters. And the tier list is a way of like either rating them or organizing them in the idea of power or how good they are in the meta of the game at the time. And you know, it's just a simple way for players to like organize. This is the good character. This is a bad character. This character is the best character in the game. This character is the worst character in the game. Just simplifying and organizing like your roster to varying degrees of success.
Yeah, and these are like things usually created by like the top players of a community.
Mhm.
And it's
Or
because-
oh, good.
no, sorry, what were you about to say?
I was gonna say, or made by goofballs
Twitter
who are like,
users.
oh, I know.
So some random fuck off on Twitter is like, my characters are all bottom tier. Yeah, that can. But what's it? Yeah. So usually made by the top players of the community, just to like. Usually they're made like with other people to try and get some sort of like comprehension on where the current metagame is. But it's
Yeah.
because this a lot of times newer players take a look at these tier lists and they'll be like, wait a second, I shouldn't play any of these characters.
Mhm.
Like just because some top players said they're low tier.
Yeah. It's a fun way of just like, hey, I'm gonna talk about the balance of the game right now without actually talking about the balance of the game. It's just like these are the best characters, these are the worst characters, and everyone else is in the middle. Without
Pretty
going to
much.
like this is why this person's S tier. Some people really do a good job like explaining why their characters are certain tiers, but some
Or
people
they
don't.
give like the tiers like specific names, like good with this
Mhm.
thing but bad with this thing, instead of oh hey
Mhm.
this thing's S. It's like what does that mean in relation to a B tier character? And like good,
Yeah.
one's S and one's B. I think
Yeah.
tier lists are really cool because it does give people an ability to discuss about them. Like,
Mhm.
and they're fun to like do like fake arguing, I guess, about it technically. Like just
Honestly, yeah.
just to, like, no, fuck you, my character is better than that or whatever, you know. But I think people put too much stock in them. Like they see
Yeah.
a tier list and then they say, oh, and now I'm gonna live by this. Like maybe me and Austin are playing like I don't know, fucking. I'm just gonna use BlazBlue as an example, and I'm playing like Hibiki, and Hibiki is considered like mid, I think,
Mhm.
roughly mid or low. And let's say doing that, and then you're playing like Bullet, and one random person just walks up to him and says, "Wait a minute, why are you playing Bullet? Isn't she one of the worst characters in the game?"
Mhm.
And
Which-
then the answer should be, "Yeah, fuck off. I like playing them."
Mhm.
Or
It-
just be like, "Oh, that's literally one tier list."
Yeah.
But like I said, these tier lists like only really matter in the highest like level of gameplay. Like,
Yeah.
I like to believe you could go to like any just like your locals and play whatever low tier character you want. It shouldn't have too much of an effect, but it really is just like these high level players and majors that these tier lists come into play, and they aren't even really that good at their job. For for if you want like a more comprehensive look at the higher up gameplay, you want to make like matchup charts, which actually show how a character does in every matchup in the game. Like tier lists are just like bite-size opinions and arguing that you can just kind of make in 10 minutes and throw off on Twitter for people to argue about.
Yeah. They are fun to make and fun to like debate and
Oh,
talk
yeah,
about, discuss. Because they're so simple and like, look, we're looking at BlazBlue again because we've talked about BlazBlue. Like, look, I think Azrael's the best character in the game. He's like S tier, and he's not typically. I don't know actual BlazBlue tier list or like how the character balance in BlazBlue is, but like it's fun to just be like, if you're playing in a small community and then your community comes up with like, this is our tier list, who we think where everyone's at. It's like this is just discussion and conversation about balance and who's good and who's bad. And usually in all those discussions, the people who are in the bottom tier are the characters that just don't get played because people don't want to play them.
Yeah.
Only
Yeah.
in
There's
like
just not
high level
enough,
tier
like-
lists that like, or like high level players making tier lists that they're like actually factoring in every character properly. And even then, like fucking Goichi or not Goichi. I think it was Goichi who did it when he made a tier list for Dragon Ball Fighter sometime recently. He was like, he had a whole list of like, I have no idea with these like 4 characters, and they were all the really complicated characters that a lot of people just aren't playing, which were like Ginyu, Android 17, and someone else. They're just like, I don't know where to put these guys in the tier list yet because we don't know if they're really good or really bad yet. Yeah.
Oh, God, that reminds me. What's that? I forgot his name. That one Jubei player in CF who makes like top 8 at all the majors.
Fuck. It's supposed
I
to be
forget-
eight, isn't it? Elion?
Elion, yes, thank you. But it's exactly the same case. Like, everybody was fucking sleeping on Jubei because nobody played him. And Elion was like the first guy that just really made all this Jubei tech and started making him viable. And it's really makes you think that a lot of times low tier isn't really the word you need to be using for these characters, but underdeveloped.
Yeah.
Even
that's
with
100% correct.
yeah, Elion also does that with Ragna and Tag.
Hmm.
Because there's points where like he'll just pick Ragna Jin. It's like, oh, he's button checking. No, he's
I
playing
wouldn't, I
Ragna
wouldn't
Jin.
say that. I wouldn't say the entirety of SoCal plays Ragnar in that game. Yeah, Ragnar is pretty checked out in terms of tech.
Mm-hmm. It's fun. Like tier lists are fun, and like it's a good way for a community to communicate like power or like how they feel balanced the game is without having to go into like matchups or go into like actual like frame data. It's very much like a blanket palette statement of like this character is good. For an example, like I talked about this when we were doing our Marvel podcast. Whenever I was bringing Marvel 2 into a class in high school, and people who had never played fighting games were all playing it and like getting good at it and like figuring shit out. They didn't make like super comprehensive tier lists. They would make like, yeah, the top 8 or 10 characters in the game were these characters, and they were all like characters that were being played by people who were winning the most often, except for like one, which was Sentinel, because everyone was playing Sentinel.
Did you put them on that?
Huh?
Did you put them on that?
What do you mean put them on making a tier list?
Were you like, hey, Sentinel's the best character, and they all started playing him? Or
No, because whenever I started playing in that class, I was playing on an emulator, arrest me if you will. But I had to unlock all the characters because you have to unlock characters in Marvel, and we eventually unlocked Sentinel. And I was like, I think Sentinel is really good in this game. Like I've heard that Sentinel's really good in this game, but I didn't like tell anybody that, and I didn't want to play Sentinel per se.
Good.
But then other people were like, oh, who's this new character? Like, oh, that's Sentinel. And they're like, oh, I'll play him. And they played him, and Sentinel has a bunch of armor and has a beam, has a button that's like a projectile, and the rocket punch with a shit ton of damage. And they were like, oh, this guy's good. Like, I like this character. And everyone was playing him because they were like, dude, rocket assist or like rocket punch assist are just really good.
Okay, because I just can't imagine like, what class was this?
This was like a fucking senior level high school class. So it was like it's like a game design or some kind of computer class.
Okay, because I can't imagine you giving Marvel 2 to a bunch of high schoolers.
Mm-hmm.
And like with that huge fucking cast, and then like some random ass high schooler being like, you know what, I'm gonna play Sentinel.
Well, yeah, it's interesting seeing who they pick because like a lot of people, because it's Marvel characters, a lot of people pick like classic like Captain America, Iron Man, fucking whatever. But then like as you play the game enough, and people are like, I want to try other characters, and they start picking like random characters, picking people who they think looks cool, and then when you're unlocking people at the same time, everyone wants to try like the new characters, and 2 people both tried Sentinel, and they're like, oh, this character's good. And then once they started winning with Sentinels, they were like, oh, we all need to be picking up Sentinel. And then everyone had a Sentinel on their team because he was just good. 'Cause I feel like Sentinel, you know, just is a good base character. And the tier list that they made, or like the discussion of like who are the best characters in the game, like Sentinel was in that top thing. But then like fucking what's his face, like Cyclops and Storm were like in the bottom because no one played those characters.
What?
But it was just because like no one knew how to do the Storm combos, or like every time people tried to do the hail, they just would do it and then we get hit because it takes time to start up and you have to like set that up and everything. But they didn't do that, and so those are bottom tier characters.
Rest in peace, Jay Wong.
Yeah. But like tier lists are very much like what your immediate like people just like, this is what I think the balance is at right now, or like how I feel about it, and usually they're not too well thought out, because usually it's just, people just making a tier list just to make a tier list. But they're fun. I feel like we've said the same thing. I've said the same thing twice now. It's like they're just fun to do, and they're great discussion pieces and like great ways to talk about balance.
Oh yeah, no, I can't count the number of times like the middle of a fighting game club meeting where someone will just walk up to the projector, pull up the tier list maker, and just be like, "All right, let's fucking go."
Yeah, it's good, just balanced discussion.
I love how like that. It was like that one iDubbbz video or some shit where like just tier lists became mainstream for
Oh yeah.
for like a couple months. All the fucking fast food tier lists.
Yeah, they're just fun to make. It's fun to
Yeah.
like look at a bunch of stuff and be like, all right, this is the best thing, this is the worst thing. Done.
Easy.
It's a good way of organization without having to be like, this is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3. It's like these 4 are in A tier because they're all generally fun, and then this is in B tier 'cause they're not as good, and then this is in the poo-poo tier.
Yeah. There's also like
It's like some people like really try to ride or die by these tier lists without
Oh
realizing
yeah.
they really are fluid in the way that you can arrange them, especially depending on who and like who's making them. Because one of my favorite things in the past couple of weeks on fighting game Twitter is the disparity between the American and Japanese BB tag tier lists,
Yeah.
because we do not agree
Mhm.
on who is top tier. Like Japan
Yeah.
does not Narukami is a good character, while at the same time fucking the US doesn't understand why Japan has like 3 Teddies and Hildas in top 8. I was watching a top 8 yesterday. There were 3 Teddies in top 3.
I need to get back into BB Tag. I want to try that game out again.
Yeah, it's fun. It's in a really good place right now, despite complaining about Adachi and Yumi.
the game is like has the good balance, I think.
Except for Yumi. And it really isn't her as a character that's the issue. Her only issue is the damage scaling on Aerial Rave.
Mhm.
But other than that, yeah.
What was I say? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about like I'm gonna go off topic a little bit about tier lists, but still in the realm of tier lists. Is that like it's also really interesting seeing how other games do tier lists. Because I've
Yeah.
been playing fucking for context, I've been playing Pokemon a lot recently
Mm-hmm.
because it's like a cozy game where I'm like in bed and I don't want to get out. I'm like I'm just gonna play Pokemon. Fuck it. And like how competitive Pokemon does their tier lists is like completely different than how fighting games do tier lists.
Yeah.
Because like
They do,
in
like-
fighting games, it's like very like again, it's fluid. It's like here's all these things, and you can put like Teddy and fucking Platinum together and have a team or whatever. You know, like it doesn't matter. But like in Pokemon, everything is like segregated into very specific locations of Ubers, overused, underused, rarely used, never used, PU.
Yeah.
I think the which tier you play in dictates which
The Pokemon
Pokemon you can use.
Yeah.
Which is like honestly, I think that works for Pokemon just because like there's so many of them.
Yeah.
And like these tiers like give people a place where they can be like, you know what, I want to play this shitty Pokemon that nobody uses. But
Mm-hmm.
it gives a place where those Pokemon can like, you know, have a fighting chance.
Yeah, hopefully
Because that game
be
is not
decent.
balanced. And
Yeah. I don't think they shoot for balance. They shoot for have a bunch of fucking Pokemon in the
when you
game.
have 740 characters. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
300 characters in the game. Yeah, if, that many. Like, I think that's really unique how they handle it, where it's like, oh, you have to use all Pokemon from underused or all Pokemon from.
Mhm.
never used.
Yeah.
Like, you totally can still put like a fucking. You can still put like. I don't know, Dusclops on OU. It's gonna get murdered instantly. But if you wanted to put a Dusclops on there, go for it.
Yeah.
like, you feel like Dusclops is really fucking good. What are you talking about?
Well, it's good. It's like a UU in Pokemon.
I don't know the Pokemon tier list to add into the discussion,
Hold on.
but yes, Garrett, I agree. I like.
Mainly because I avoid Dusclops.
We can still get like again like it still gets ass rocked over there. It's like sure you can put it right there, but it's better off like in its tier. It's not like in a fighting game where it's like oh man, how come you're using Teddy in the S tier fight, isn't it B tier? Like, no, that's not how it works in fighting games. Fighting games is like, yeah, just use whoever you want because the rosters are small comparatively to Pokemon's few hundred.
Yeah. The only fighting games that have rosters comparable enough to be the same kind of
literally
situation. Huh?
It would be arguably Smash, I think, and that's it.
Maybe Smash or like any of those old Dragon Ball Z games that
Yeah.
had like 100 fucking characters in it.
100 of the
Honest-
same character.
Yeah.
Would you think Marvel 2 could be in there too? Just because of like
Yeah, because like if you got rid of that top 8 characters, then you would just create another vacuum of busted characters comparatively to the rest of the tiers.
Well, I mean, like, I'm not gonna say that Marvel 2 is balanced or anything, but they had a low tier tournament for can't remember what the name of the tournament was. It was a tournament that was being held by Chris Matrix, and he was like, "We're only doing all the top tiers are banned. Like, you can't play any of the top tiers, and you can't even use like these 2 assists. Like, you can't do Captain Corridor assist, and you can't use Cyclops DP or whatever." And it was fun watching like the teams that were like showing up, but there was definitely like, again, 8 or 9 characters are like these are the best like lower tier characters because they have DP assist and they have like lockdown stuff that can be done, like VDO's team or like Ruby Heart was really prominent and seeing a lot of play, but they always and like again like you're right, like once you get rid of the top 8 powerful like these are the broken characters, just the next level of those characters, the next level just takes over that spot, or like the B tier becomes the new A tier. It doesn't like fix balance all of a sudden that you ban the character.
Yeah, that's the really interesting thing about that tier list because I feel like no other game has that power vacuum like Marvel 2 does.
Oh yeah,
Of like get rid of 2 characters, you're still gonna have characters that literally like murder other things. It's like again, it's like almost Pokemon-ish.
It's interesting and like I feel like it like Smash Melee has the thing where it's like
Oh yeah.
only 3 characters are like viable, or not literally 3. I think it's like 5 or 6, and the rest of the roster is just not. But then some people, show up with a Ganondorf and they do crazy Ganondorf stuff and they're like, "Oh, Ganondorf's strong," or like Yoshi.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think like with Melee, the way they make their tier list is less about viability per se and more about like this one tier list I saw where it's like the ability to win a major,
Yeah.
like against all these prominent Melee players.
Which is an interesting way of making a tier list because sometimes tier lists get made that are like solely a balance thought, like putting in the thought of balance, and some are just made of just like these characters win tournaments, and like that's how it is. Very much when I was younger. Oh, was that?
I was gonna say, meanwhile, you got Skullgirls where like every single character has won a major in the past couple of years instead of except for Valentine.
Yeah.
I'll be
Really,
the one.
Yeah, no,
No,
we've had some Valentines get really, really close, but not win a major now.
Huh.
Time to
Interesting.
become the
Actually,
first
yeah.
Valentine
I know
major.
Cloud got really high recently. I don't know if he won though. I actually don't remember if he won grand finals. Whatever. Anyway, good balance.
It's interesting, like whenever I was starting to get into fighting games back in early high school, if I ever thought like anytime I started a fighting game or wanted to play a thing, it was like go look at the tier list and see who's the top tier characters and then pick those characters, or I would do the opposite and I would pick the low tier character and be like, I'm gonna play low tier, ha ha ha. But it was not so much like playing the game and figuring out like, oh, this is how like everyone plays and like how I'm gonna like this is how I'm gonna get good at the game, like figuring things out. It was very much like, oh, well, I guess I'm gonna play a top tier, or I guess I'm gonna play a low tier, and that was it. Like it's not learning the game and learning how characters work and learning matchups. It was just using that tier list to make my decision for me.
Yeah, that could really fuck you over, especially.
Oh, it does, yeah.
Games.
Not how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, especially in something like Blaze Blue, or like imagine like somebody completely new to fighting games doesn't even know how to like, well, what's a Shoryuken? What's Shoto? And then they just look at a tier list and pick up Arakune.
Mm-hmm.
It's blue. Ooh, yeah, they got another thing coming there.
Mm-hmm.
But that really makes like, actually that makes sense because like a lot of the top tiers you see are up there usually because like they're these high execution characters and they're able to get like these really insane setups.
Yeah, or they have like a strategy to them that like you have to have a decent level or a decent amount of knowledge on how to use this strategy and when to use this strategy for it to be like viable.
Exactly, which really means that like a lot of these top tier characters are less about the character and more about the player. I wonder where I'm getting. The tier lists are an illusion.
Mm-hmm. It's very like it's just that like tier lists mainly reflect the person making the tier list, not so much the actual like game. Most of the time, which there are people who make good tier lists. I think like Goichi does make decent tier lists for Dragon Ball Fighters. However, like he isn't like perfect or 100% correct. These things get adjusted as the game goes on. Sometimes somebody comes out of nowhere with a new character, like starts playing a new character and is doing crazy stuff. And they're like, "What? You can do that?
Is this character actually busted?"
Mm-hmm. It's like when Aliyun or whatever his name was, I think it's Aliyun, started playing Majin Buu. And was like, "The fuck's Majin Buu doing here? He's like the worst character in the game." And then he had the setup with the pink matter. And he would do like setups and stuff. People were like, "Oh, he's good." But you need to have like a team built around him to be good, or like even better examples like Piccolo and Fighters, where everyone was like, "Yeah, Piccolo's like not that good," and then they figured out the Hellzone Grenade like snap setups, and everyone was like, "Oh no, he's like the best character in the game." Like they evolve and change once people figure stuff out.
Yeah, pretty much. And I guess it's like the godly YouTube video titles of like unknown OD Piccolo cooks ass, no oil, butter.
Huh.
What a fucking name for a fucking video.
Hey man, you gotta get those clicks.
That wasn't even a joke. That's an actual video title I've seen. I remember there's like a few video titles when like LTG started playing Smash. It was like unknown OD Inkling slaps LTG's ass and paints some orange or some shit like that.
Fucking YouTube videos named by Corey.
No, that had a little bit too much in there for it to be Corey.
All right, yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah, dude, I just looked up LTG Smash Inkling. I get fucking. Can I say this on stream or on?
Does it include the N-word?
No.
Oh no,
It's like
fine.
LTG gets a sloppy orange ink cream pie from Godlike Inkling in double 3 stock.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. We'll eventually get to the point where this will go from a normal podcast to me talking about porn.
Oh,
It's
we're
a
just
slow
waiting for the
transformation.
we're just waiting for the right setup.
We'll get there. Don't worry about it.
We'll get there, and then it'll derail.
Or
A new
I'll be the
challenger
only
will-
person on the podcast.
Dude, these fucking video titles are so good. Oh, here's a good one. LTG gets clobbered by IKEA store owner Isabel and screams.
What? What? Wait a minute. My brain's having a hard time comprehending this. Read that again.
LTG gets clobbered by IKEA store owner Isabel and screams. That's the name of the video. 18,000 views.
Why Isabella? Why IKEA?
Because Isabel.
Sure, Isabel's yellow. IKEA has the color yellow. Aha, I get it.
Yeah, the thumbnail just has a picture of Isabel with like a IKEA badge on her shirt. and low tier god just screaming at the store.
Get it out of here. I don't want to see it. Oh. Great. You know, balance is good.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't need balance in a fighting game as much as I need other things. Like,
I mean, sometimes it's necessary, but I really think the design philosophy you should have with fighting games is that, like, when there's a power disparity, like, you really shouldn't be nerfing the top tier characters unless it's like, you know, makes the game absolutely unplayable, and focus more on bringing up these lower tier characters.
yeah. Buff the weak.
Yeah, I was about to
Like-
say that. That's my go-to is that Roy Ancient Quarry Gaming video.
Yeah.
It's like 4 or
It's-
5 years old at this point, but it's still
Yeah.
like very much apparent of, hey, you should probably just nerf the bad ones,
hmm
and not nerf the bad ones. You should buff the bad characters first, or quote unquote bad characters, buff them,
hmm
and then maybe nerf later if you have to.
Yeah. Like nerfing should only be implemented whenever you have a problem with your meta, and the problem with your problem should be like things like this character can just mash heavy punch in the corner and just win because they're just gonna keep getting the same, like they have an infinite combo in that corner, and that's a problem.
Yeah, it reminds me of the fucking like 1.0 BB tag where you could just send completely invulnerable Grim Reapers full screen.
Yeah.
There's nothing they could do about it.
Grim Reaper.
There's also
Congratulations, oldest 50-50, bitch.
yeah, there's
But
also
then-
Tekken also had that recently with Leroy when he came out. Where
Did
had
they?
to they had to like immediately nerf him
Hmm.
because I think the week he came out during Evo Japan, it was like 6 or 7. There was like 5 or 6 Leroys in top 8.
Yeah. Yeah, he was super good. Or he was like
And
very
so,
much
like,
high
the
tier.
past 2 patches were made specifically towards fixing him.
Yeah. Which, like, it's interesting how certain games go about with balance, and how it, like, sometimes having a really unbalanced roster can be like a feature / like part of the culture, like with Marvel. Or like having a very like super balanced everyone is viable thing can sometimes just be like whatever. It's just like, oh yeah, they're just, everyone's kind of balanced. Like there's not like a bad character. It doesn't really change anything.
I think you can like really learn a lot by comparing some of the like longer standing games where they've had to balance them over years and updates. And I think like
Yeah.
Overwatch is a really good example of like what you shouldn't do.
Which one?
Because Overwatch.
Yeah.
Didn't they admit that they just kind of do it whenever?
Like it's not the fact that, well, one, it's a problem that they just didn't listen to the community at all, usually when it came to balance patches. Like a lot of times their philosophy wasn't like, you know, making characters stronger. It's always was, hey, what characters do we think are a problem? And they're it really is kind of hard because their way their game is structured is already pretty rock paper scissorsy.
Yeah.
But when they make it so that they address a character as a problem and in response retune the game to work against that character, it makes it even like worse when in that next patch, if you try to play that character, your team will like shit on you because you're not going to win because the other team has X counter.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And because of that, like their philosophy has led to like mainly nerfs after nerfs for like each character. And every time you come back to that game, like the shining light in that game for me is Roadhog. I fucking love that boy. I remember playing like Roadhog day one, and I could like hook a Winston from halfway across the map and just absolutely one-shot him. And maybe that wasn't okay.
Maybe that's a war crime.
But today I can get on, I'll hook someone, and the way it works, like some characters, they don't even like I can't even kill them, or they there's like a lot more counterplay to that, and the character himself has been nerfed along with that. The game just doesn't feel as fun as it used to when it was just like a wild west of everyone is overpowered.
Yeah. it's 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 interesting because like people are afraid of games having too many broken or like having a broken character, but it's almost like fun. Like the best my favorite example of like a goofy glitch on like not good balancing to happen, but with also like the best thing to happen was in Street Fighter 5 when Blanca
Oh yeah, the
got
fucking
buffed
Dio Blanca.
and he became Dio Blanca, where he could like freeze time and do a move, and then he would unfreeze time, and it was the hype as shit because Blanca just got a whole new tech, and he like I can't remember how difficult it was to do it, but I was watching the Wednesday night fights that was happening that week, and they were like, we're allowing everyone to be able to do the Blanca glitch, like
What?
if you want to do it, you can do it. We don't care. And it was fun watching matches where people have to play Blanca, and then like some people don't know how to play Blanca. It's like they're just kind of like flailing until they can do the time stop, and then they win. But at the same time, there are people who are just like, I'm just gonna play Rashid and just like beat the Blanca to death, and they do it. And then they immediately patched it and got rid of it and fixed the game. But like I thinking about it, like that was so much fun to watch as a spectator, and I'm willing to bet the gameplay of like getting like, all right, your character sucks for most of the game,
Make
but
him
then
good.
bam, you now have time stop. Can you win?
Congratulations, you landed time stop. You win.
Yeah, and I kind of love that. I kind of loved that like that whole feeling of it. Now, sure, there's a better way of doing it. Referencing the Core Gaming video again, he talked about Junpei in fucking
Ultimax.
in Ultimax, and like Junpei is a good example of like very complicated mechanic, but if you understand it and work with it, like you benefit from it.
Yeah, becomes really one of the best characters in the game by the end of it.
Yeah, and I
I wouldn't say that, but he's still like pretty like in victory cry. It's just
Yeah.
a struggle to get it.
mhm.
Yeah, that's
I
another
stand-
game for balance that I like. That game isn't balanced. The game's fucked. It's stupid,
Yeah.
but it's really fun
It
to
is.
watch how fucked it is.
Mhm.
Exactly. Like you watch. I remember when I wanted to get into the game, I was watching some old Evo footage of it, and I was watching Shadow Mitsuru just baiting out until she had enough meter, and then landing one hit and just like landing this super stupid TOD.
Yeah.
Watching.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's like I'd
Yeah.
rather a game be a bunch of broken stuff than like
A few fixtures.
boring everyone's the same like level of power.
You'd rather have it be a bunch of glass shards all over the floor instead of like two really nice looking cups.
Yeah. Okay, and like the player like the people playing the game will figure out how to like, we'll figure out like, all right, even when everyone's broken, there's like two characters that are like the best of the broken. But like you can still play broken characters and do broken shit. Now like there is such a thing as it being too broken, and the like if a character has a one button infinite that is super easy and not fun to play against and like doesn't take any thought to do, then yeah, balance that guy out. But I have fun playing and watching like broken games that are like, hey, or like have broken mechanics. They're like, hey, these 5 characters just go crazy and everything, but you have to like know how to play the game, and like you have to like benefit. Like it's only broken because you as a player understand how to do this and understand how to like make this broken. Or in the Blanca situation, your character sucks until you unlock the hidden ability,
Yeah, the good.
and now you were strong.
Yeah, like
Unleashed.
like Phoenix Wright.
Yeah, like
Was-
Phoenix Wright's a great example.
Legitimately terrible
Yes. hmm
until
He's
you get until you get your items, and then he becomes pretty good whenever you can start having projectiles. And then
Yeah.
when you land an objection, just become God.
hmm
like all the Phoenix Wright highlights where it's always the same thing. Phoenix Wright gets all of his evidence. He lands the objection. He activates X Factor, and he just kills 3 characters like right then and there.
Yeah.
It's,
It's
Crazy.
kind of fantastic to see, like, you get all the evidence, activate X Factor, lands the objection, kill a character, and then use, like, I think it's the envelope, which sets up like the orbs,
Mm-hmm.
and they hover there, and then on incoming they have to block that, and then they lose like a fourth of their health via chip.
Yeah.
In the turnabout mode, like the big objection fingers that he throws out deal like hella chip damage too.
Yeah,
It's
and
like,
also wall bounces and ground bounces.
yeah. So no matter what, you're gonna lose a fucking ton of health because of it.
Yeah, and it's all balanced in the way that, hey, you have to work super fucking hard to get to that position,
Exactly.
and you have to do so much things to get to that point.
Yeah,
And it's like,
that's the game where everybody has a loop of some kind that can like do at least like 70% of your health if they know what they're doing.
yeah,
Like, let him get his evidence, idiot. Easy.
Yeah, just kill him. He also has relatively low health, I'm pretty sure, as well. So like
yeah.
a decent combo can kill him. Like literally just doing a Dante B&B can probably kill him.
I mean, a Dante B&B can kill most not
Yeah.
most characters, but can kill a good portion of that cast. And
Just touching on
I'll
that.
say it, Zero May Cry. I hate watching Zero May Cry gameplay, but that team got developed so like I won't say late in the game, but like got developed like kind of later, and like once it got figured out, it was like, oh wait, this is a really good pressure option that like wins, that you can win with. And it was like a pretty strong team, but then you also had teams that were like the Morrigan teams that were like, Morrigan's going to jump back, Soul Fist, and then send out the clone, and then do Soul Fist lockdown. And like, yeah, they're like, that was also broken, but like it was fun to see like those teams work because you understood your team mechanics and you understood like how to do it and figure it out. And then some of them had counters, but it was fun to watch. It's fun to have those kind of like broken things come up later in the game's lifetime when people have like really worked with it and figured things out. And like, yeah, I feel like every fighting game at some point is going to get to the situation where, well, we've played the game for 4 years straight and we've found that this is literally the most optimal way to play the game and optimal way to win, because it's, you know, good frame data, good setups, good damage. Like, it's just the best way of playing it. Yeah, it's, you know.
In case we're still gonna be finding like new shit to do with that game.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's like easy.
Mm-hmm.
I still remember, I forget which Twitter account it was. It was like some like PR esports account, whatever. But it was like, what would you rather do for $1,000 or something? And one of them, it was like, do the Daigo parry, whoa, be Diego. But one of them was block 0 in Marvel 3 for 20 seconds straight. And people in the comments were like, you heavily underestimate what 0 can do.
Yeah, yeah.
I could really block that man for like 2 seconds, and you want people to do it for 10 times that long.
Uh-huh.
Just block the lightning loops, LMAO.
Dude.
Dude, just block.
Just block Pizza Cutter, LMAO. It crosses up or whatever, just block it.
It's an argument I was watching. I was watching the Anime Illuminati stream last night, and they were just streaming Grand Blue.
Yeah.
It had a few people just social distancing at their studio, and they weren't looking at chat. And chat was, 2 people were having an argument. One guy was talking about, yeah, Zoe can you know how Zoe plays in Grand Blue, right, Austin?
No, not really.
Okay, yeah, let me just explain real quick. So Zoe is set play character.
Okay.
That's all you really need to know. She sets
Cool.
up her dragon and it puts you in block stunned, and she proceeds to mix.
Got it. Hidden missile.
Yes, pretty much. And this guy was saying, Zoe should use this super because it does more damage. And the other person says, no, you shouldn't use that because it puts them mid-screen. And with the set play character, you always want them to be in the corner. And this is where it got really heated. Because the guy said, no, Zoe isn't that good in the corner. I can just react to the mix. And she's like, what if she conditions you with a strike throw? He's like, well, I will simply tech the grab. And they were arguing this for probably a solid 20 minutes of the person saying, what? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you're so godlike at the game. And it's like, but
Yeah.
you fucking idiot. You can just get easily conditioned and get hit. It's like, no, because if I get hit, that would mean I'm teching early, and I would never do
Yeah.
that.
I would simply react to the grab and tech.
I just love that whole like people. I love when a person is talking about, hey,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna ever get hit. I can block all of this. Like you, dude, it's impossible. A lot of people can't block a lot of like mix. Like the reason mix is a thing is because and like mix and rush like mix ups and rush downs like exist to this day is because even the best players that have ever existed can't beat mix all the time because it's always guessing.
Yeah. That.
Uh,
So is this a good time to bring up Brendan once again with this thing?
sure, go ahead.
Just with
Are
the
you gonna
idea
bring up fucking Mr. Mitsuru JB is reactable?
that, and then like talking about how like, oh, my characters suck. Their stuff is so predictable. It's like, are you kidding me right now, man? Like most people cannot react to this stuff, but what, go off.
But yeah, no, that's mainly. I think that like loops back into tier lists, and it's just kind of a small problem I have with tier lists. Not even really a problem, just something that just like very slightly irks me, is when people play characters and make a tier list. They'll always take the characters that they play and put them in like low or bottom tier to make it seem like, oh, I'm struggling, guys. I'm just a poor low tier main, man. Throw me a bone here. And it's
Yeah, or like
man who has said
and
these
then
things
they like
before.
bring it up, like when you're playing with them or whatever. Where it's like, man, I sure wish I was playing a high tier character like you. It's like, all right.
while I'm here trying to play fucking Waldstein against New 13.
Insert,
Like, yeah, bro, I'm playing a low tier character, and I'm here just crying at full screen.
mhm. Insert jokes about me playing Enkidu in Under Night.
Dude, you should have been there for when Clear came out. He was like hella top tier for a solid month.
Dude, I fucking was so excited because I remember reading the patch notes and getting like, this is where the game's gonna go. I was like, oh man, we are
Still
in.
good.
Huh?
Still good. He
Yeah.
he was like super busted like on release though for Clear.
Yeah, and I remember being like, this is it. This is my moment to shine. And then I just stopped playing Under Night for no real reason. And I missed my window to be like, finally, I can stop saying that I'm losing because of my low tier as like my, it'll be fine.
It's still good though because like
yeah.
a lot of people made a fuss about it when they tuned down Enkidu, and I think it was like 1.3 for Clear. But if Enkidu, the way he is right now, is what they released for Clear, Enkidu players still would have been like extremely happy. Like he's still a lot better than he is in Clear, and like a lot of people won't put him in like low tier anymore. He's like on the mid tier spectrum with
Part of
pretty
the
much
core gang.
90%.
Mm-hmm. It's the excuse of I'm playing a low tier can only take you so far.
If ever.
Yeah. And this is coming from the guy who has said that a couple of times in his life. But you can start to defend yourself or start to like technically be right whenever you start saying, oh man, my frame data on my character kind of sucks. Well, if you really mean that, you're like, oh, I hate playing this character because they're low tier, you should probably just stop playing the character at that point. If not, you're just making up excuses. And this is coming from me who said that a couple of times.
Quote, a man who has made many excuses.
It's tier and like it goes back to the whole point of like what we're talking about. Like tier lists don't like make or break anything. Like low tier characters can win majors and can win tournaments and can like do some like people playing low tier characters can do really 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 well. Like top 8 of Under Night at Evo had an Enkidu and he was fucking up shit. And at the time he was considered a low tier character, but like he was still there in top 8, biggest tournament in the world. Like low tier people playing low tiers can win and do very very well. It's not impossible. The only time that low tier characters like the concept of like a character being low tier like affects everything is literally like Servbot in Marvel 2, where Servbot has like the lowest health. He combos nothing and nothing, and he just dies.
Yeah, but he can cut carrots though.
Dude, he can toss that tablecloth.
He can peel potato.
Dude, he can accidentally fall into a tank that shoots. He eats hot pepper. He throws himself or friends.
Yeah, I can't believe Servbot is a big fan of Garfield and Friends.
God. And you can also argue like there's such a thing as being so low tier that you're like useless or unplayable. Like it exists. There are joke characters, or there are like characters that are just intentionally built to be bad. Like Dan Abiki will always be bad in every Street Fighter that he's in, but like, you know, you can still play him and like you can win with Dan. But he's definitely going to be built to be weaker than everyone else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tier lists are just like a really tier lists and balancing is always just such an interesting topic because there's no one's gonna have the same like opinion. Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
Oof,
Like-
I was going way too fast.
That's mainly what they are. Like, their tier lists aren't inherently bad. They're just
Yeah.
mainly conversations and really easy ways to get your opinion across.
Yeah.
What I really irritates them is when people get hung up on them.
Yeah, when people live and die by tier list is when it starts getting like,
Also, they make all their excuses for them.
yes.
They're like, I'm losing because I played low tier. You are a tier 4, and
Yeah.
it's your fault that I'm losing.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, picking a top tier is self-care.
If you're having a hard time and you can't win any matches and online's just getting bad, just pick a top tier.
Pick a top tier.
In the immortal words of Sanford Kelly, just pick a top tier. Just shut up and just pick a top tier. And if you aren't winning with your top tier, maybe you're the problem. Haha.
Maybe you are the top tier.
Maybe you are top tier.
Or maybe, if you want to put in the work, be that person that like plays like that lower mid-tier character, finds that tech and makes them top tier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Be the man that made Yoshi F tier to like C tier.
Yeah. Be the guy who discovers the Iron Man Infinite.
Yeah.
Be the tier list you want to see. God.
Be the tier list you want to see. Yeah. Tier lists are inherently fun. Game balance is always a fun topic, and it's always fun for figuring out game balance and figuring out how you're going to do, or how you're going to like, you know, figuring out how. That's like the best part of any fighting game. It's like the first like few weeks when no one knows who's
Yeah.
busted or who's good, and just everyone's playing every character and things getting figured out. Like that's the golden age of every
Yeah, I've
fighting
seen
game.
People be like, man, like this character sucks, and then like literally next week, it'll be like, oh, this character's actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing that happen with Grand Blue. Like whenever everyone's
Yeah.
like, yeah, Vasaraga is the worst character in the game, he sucks, and then like next week it's like, oh, he's actually not too bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh yeah, this Vasarega player won like 2 majors. He's good now.
Yeah.
Really, one thing that I think is fun to talk about is putting balance in the hands of the players.
Yeah, and that's
And
not
I love
great.
seeing. You guys seen it yet? But there's been this group of people on Twitter that have been retuning BB Tag.
Oh yeah,
and
no, I've seen
modding
those.
it
It's fucking
to-
ridiculous.
I fucking love it. I don't know if you've seen these, Austin. They gave Tager an air dash.
Oh my God! What?
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Let me go. They gave Tager 50 air dashes.
Yeah, they also made for Narukami, they made it to a Raging Lion ground bounces.
Oh my gosh!
Right now, from what I'm aware, according to Lance, you got one person who's making like just a BB Tag 3.0 balance patch, and another person who's just making BB Tag Rainbow Edition, where like
And
they're just
then-
taking every single character and breaking them fundamentally.
I
Like
shipped them
Tager has a
before.
combo that is like
20k that you can do with just like JC Air Dash times 50. So good.
Dude, remember fucking Omega mode in Street Fighter 4? Like, you know, like did you guys play Omega mode for Street Fighter 4?
No,
I have not.
Okay, so right before Street Fighter 5 came out, like I think like the last season before, like the last like year, they came out with Omega mode for Street Fighter 4, and it gave every character just like crazy wonky out there bullshit and like broke shit. Like they gave Guile the rapid fire sonic booms before. Like that's where the rapid fire sonic booms come from, is from Omega mode. And a lot of the changes, or not a lot, but a lot of the like things that people got for V triggers or like V skills in Street Fighter 5 come from Omega mode. Like just, hey, we're gonna give characters like really weird, unique things that, you know, aren't balanced, but are just like crazy stuff. They gave like Honda the ability to like throw like salt, like the sumo salt that he does in his intro, as like a projectile. So Honda had a projectile. Dan had a command grab that was really good. They gave Seth like super good like teleport mix up, double sonic boom, like crazy out, like just most crazy shit. Like they just went all out and like broke everybody and gave everyone crazy stuff, and it was a ton of fun. And like that's fun to me when they like developers or like the community make really crazy rainbow editions, or like every character gets an air dash now, or like this character just has, everyone's getting crazy shit. It's just more fun.
Yeah. I shared two things with you, Austin. There were two of the things we were talking about with the BB bag. One was with Jin, and the other one's with Narukami.
I'm gonna watch the sweaty Jin one.
Hell yeah.
Oh shit! You here for that, Garrett? I think you were like out getting something. Me and Austin were just talking before the podcast started.
Oh, we're talking about funny tier list.
Yeah. We were talking about how we've decided, and that our headcanon, that Jin uses his sweat to make like all the ice that he uses.
Yeah, he's just so goddamn sweaty.
He's the sweatiest character in BlazBlue.
Mm-hmm. And like Hakumen is just as sweaty.
Exactly. But so we were like, it's because of the joke tier list that someone put in the Freaks Discord. That was like the BlazBlue character armpit sweat tier list. And there were tiers on there, like, do they even have pores for like Hakumen and Arukune? And we were thinking about it. So Hakumen is just an empty suit, right? He's not sweating, but still sweaty, because somewhere in the boundary you just have a disembodied Jin, like sweating his ass off.
Yeah, like profusely sweating.
So you just got like a floating Jin in like a pool of sweat.
Mm-hmm. And that's how current Jin, or living Jin, or Jin, or whatever you want to fucking call him, does everything. Because he's just constantly sweating and then freezing that sweat with his ice powers. And that's
I don't know how to take this.
Well, you know, it's just the way of the world now, Garrett. You just have to accept it as reality.
I guess I do. Like, I don't know how to like respond.
Well,
the idea of he uses his sweat for ice.
I think that's it. I think we're done.
Is that how we're going out? Not in a blaze of glory, but a puddle of sweat.
I mean, what do you want me to do, Garrett? You want me to talk about like more sweaty characters? I can come up with my sweaty video game character tier list.
I think we're good.
What's the sweatiest fighting game?
Want to make a sweaty character tier list?
No, we should make a sweaty fighting. No, sweatiest roster, like overall roster, like how much they sweat.
Fighters, definitely. Either fighters or Tekken 7. There's a lot of sweat going on in like both those games.
Dude, I'm gonna say Tekken 7 has the most sweat. Like every character glistens in sweat and water. And then I'll go with like, okay, what's the bottom tier? What characters don't sweat? Smash? No character sweats in Smash.
No, I don't even think Smash characters have pores.
Yeah,
Like,
not at all.
Like, nah. Like,
Mhm.
let alone maybe Snake. Snake can sweat.
Yeah.
Like, you can see man's pores.
He's legally
But,
allowed
like,
to.
You look at Mario and, like, zoom in on his face. He has no pores to sweat from.
Mm-hmm.
You just jump to Wahoo.
He is like fucking. My body must sweat, yet I have no pores.
I have no pores.
Mr. Game & Watch literally can't. He is just a piece of paper.
What other? Street Fighter 5, mild mid-tier sweat. Guilty Gear, no
Don't
sweat.
don't they have like some characters in Street Fighter 5 where like when they activate their V trigger, they like do like a sweat explosion, you know,
Yeah.
where they just they flex and all their sweat just pops off.
That's Zangief, yeah.
Yeah, Zangief does. Well, that's muscle thing. I don't know if sweat. Yeah, probably sweat does come off actually.
Yeah, whenever he like does his victory, he like hits his chest and he like just and you see like sweat.
Oh, you're
coming off.
right. He does do that.
Yeah. So put that up there. Street Fighter 5
Literal buckets.
here on the sweat tier list, right under Fighters and Tekken 7.
Mortal Kombat, mildly sweaty.
No sweat, only blood.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
they
they replace all the
sweat
sweat
blood.
with blood. So it actually goes in the negative zone. The negative sweat. It's all blood.
Can imagine that fucking like the Mortal Kombat animators, their boss comes in and is just like telling him, you need to animate them sweating blood. I swear they need this. It's important to the game.
We need more gore. What do you mean he's drinking a soda? No, he's drinking blood. Garrett, stop us at any time. We're honestly tangenting off into a horrible joke.
Do you want me to go ahead and wrap it up then?
I mean, unless you want to, like, I don't feel have much more to say about balance or tiers.
What about you, Mr.
general.
James?
Good.
Okay. Well, I guess then we'll wrap up. Join us next time when we talk about something else. I don't know what, but we'll figure it out. I'll probably set up a poll with some choices, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was joined by James,
That'd be me.
and then Mr. Austin.
That's also me.
And I've been the person who has been here, Garrett. And, yeah, we'll see you at some point. I will continue to torture myself with Yik. Make sure to not send Yik pics to people.
Yeah. Only consensual yick pics.
Yeah, only consensual yick pics are allowed in this server.
Can't you see I'm blazing? Still my heart is blazing. If the words kill me, I don't need a new world over you. My time is my